Casinos don't often admit this out loud, but there are a handful of things players do, things that absolutely drive casinos crazy. Not illegal things, not cheating, not counting cards, but small behaviors, innocent habits, and smart moves that put players in a position casinos don't like. And today, we're breaking them down one by one. Some of these are harmless, some of them are actually smart, and a few, casinos really wish you'd stop doing because they quietly ruin their strategy. So let's get into it. Here are the things casinos absolutely hate when players do, and the truth they try to hide from you.
1. Players who only sit at hot machines and move fast. If there's one type of player casinos quietly dislike, it's the one who never settles. The player who keeps moving, hopping machine to machine, looking for a slot that's actively giving payouts in the moment. Let me explain why. Casinos want players to sit, relax, get comfortable, order a drink, settle in emotionally, and build a session mindset. Because the longer you sit, the more you spin. The more you spin, the more the math guarantees their earnings. But then there's that player, the one who watches nearby machines, looks for recent hits, moves every 5 minutes, chases instant momentum, not long-term play. Casinos quietly call these people floaters. Now here's the part casinos don't say out loud. They don't like floaters because floaters break the psychological rhythm casinos design their floors around. Casinos want you emotionally committed. Floaters? They're emotionally detached. They're analyzing, scanning, thinking. They aren't there for the experience. They're there for signals, for signs the machine is warmed up, paying, active. And casinos hate that, because a floater doesn't feed into the long-term statistical cycle. They're basically interrupting the house advantage timeline. Are they guaranteed to win? Of course not. But casinos don't like players who don't sit still, because sitting still usually leads to losing more over time.
2. Players who cash out too fast. Casinos appreciate one type of player more than any other. The player who keeps spinning after a small win. You know, the player who hits $40, smiles, and says, "Let me just see what it does next." That's the exact behavior casinos love. But the one they hate? The player who gets a bonus, gets ahead, and immediately cashes out and walks away. Casinos don't like this because they want you emotionally connected to the machine. They want you thinking, "That bonus was fun. Maybe there's another one coming." But when a player doesn't fall for that emotional pull, when they just say, "Okay, I'm up, I'm done," casinos lose what they depend on most, continuation play. And there's something else casinos don't tell you. When you get ahead and cash out, you are breaking what casinos call return loop behavior. Return loop behavior is when a player wins something, reinvests it, loses some, wins again, loses again, and stays in that loop until their wallet drains. But players who cash out immediately, they break the loop. Casinos hate that. 3. Players who don't fall for free play psychology. Here's a little secret. Casinos don't give free play out of generosity. They give it out because the majority of people overspend once they're inside. Casinos want players to use their $20 free play, add $30 of their own, try to build it up, and then keep spinning. But do you know who casinos hate? The players who only use their free play, don't add extra money, and leave the moment it's gone. Because free play is not designed to be free. It's designed to get you emotionally invested. Casinos study people who resist that investment, and they quietly mark those players as low value. Casinos don't punish them, but they absolutely hate that type of behavior because it defeats the psychological purpose of the offer. And here's something even more interesting. Players who only use their free play and never spend extra often stop receiving the best offers. Why? Because casinos want players who turn $20 of free play into $200 of real spending. But the player who keeps everything separate? Yeah, casinos hate that discipline.
4. Players who leave immediately after a big win. There's an unspoken rule casinos wish players followed. After a big win, players should keep playing. But guess what? The smartest players? They don't. They hit a hand pay, collect their cash, and walk straight out to the parking lot. Casinos absolutely hate this because winning is supposed to trigger reinforcement excitement, the sensation that makes players say, well, if I hit big once, maybe I can hit big again. But the truth? Most people end up giving back their wins, sometimes all of it, sometimes more. That's why casinos love people who stay after a win. But the ones who leave? They're interrupting what the industry calls the post-big win spending curve. Casinos expect you hit, you're excited, you start betting bigger, you give some back, you try to recover, you lose more, you chase, you leave empty-handed. But if you skip this cycle, yeah, casinos hate you for that.
5. Players who watch before they play. Casinos love impulsive players, the ones who sit down at the first open machine and start spinning immediately. But players who watch, who study machines, who observe payouts, who analyze which sections seem active, who take their time? Yeah, casinos don't exactly love those, because observational players avoid emotional play, avoid boredom spins, skip low-energy machines, use pattern recognition, and break the jump-in psychology casinos rely on. Again, does watching guarantee a win? No, but it actively reduces the casino psychological advantage. Casinos depend heavily on momentum, but players who wait don't build that momentum. They step in logically, not emotionally. And casinos hate players who think.
6. Players who bring strict budgets. One of the biggest things casinos hate? Players who come with a preset budget, a hard limit, a stop-loss, a walking-away rule, and actually stick to it. Casinos depend on emotional decisions, not logical ones. They want the player who says, I'll just take out another 100, or I think I'm due for something soon, or I don't want to waste my trip here. But players who treat the casino like a movie ticket, a fixed entertainment cost, are extremely hard for casinos to profit from. Casinos hate disciplined players because disciplined players don't chase, don't reload, don't get emotional, don't get tempted, don't fall for near misses, and don't break their rules. Most casinos quietly acknowledge budget players have low loss probability. They don't ban you. They don't punish you. They just dislike the fact that you're immune to the psychological tricks they spend millions designing.
7. Players who take breaks. Casinos hate when players take breaks because breaks reset your emotional state. Casinos want continuous spinning, continuous decisions, no pauses, no thinking time. Every minute you're not spinning is money the casino isn't earning. But even more importantly, when players take breaks, they stop the sunk cost effect. What's that? It's when your brain says, I've already put money in, I should keep going. Breaks destroy that mindset. Even a 5-minute break can make a player say, wait, why am I still here? I should go. And casinos hate that clarity.
8. Players who know when a machine is cold and leave. Casinos want players to believe machines are unpredictable, but they truly love the players who believe it has to hit eventually, right? But players who feel the machine has gone too long without anything, sense the energy drop, or stop before the machine drains them, these players ruin the casino's strategy. Casinos know the average player sits through long, dry cycles. That's how machines earn. But players who leave quickly, players who cut their losses early, casinos hate that type of self-awareness.
9. Players who refuse drinks. This one is subtle but real. Casinos offer free drinks to slow you down, relax your judgment, increase risk-taking, reduce logical thinking, and make you stay longer. But players who politely decline, players who stay sharp and sober, casinos quietly dislike those. Because alcohol changes your decision-making. It makes things feel more fun and less risky. A sober player is often a more logical player, and casinos hate when logic shows up.
10. Players who walk away happy. This last one might surprise you. Casinos don't actually hate winners. Winners are good marketing, but they do hate people who win and leave satisfied. Because casinos want players thinking, I'm on a roll. I can double this. I can do better. But players who say, I had fun. I'm done. Those players break the final piece of casino psychology, the illusion of control. Casinos thrive on players believing they can influence the outcome. Players who walk away don't believe that. Casinos hate it because it means the player is impossible to manipulate.
So, those are the 10 things casinos absolutely hate when players do. None of them are illegal. None of them guarantee winning. But all of them reduce the psychological advantages casinos rely on. Tell me in the comments, which one surprised you the most? And if you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to subscribe for more behind-the-scenes casino truths. See you in the next one.